Hey guys, this is Justin. So today I'm going to the AMC in Disney Springs in Lake Buena Vista, Florida to go see Dune Part 2. And this movie is a sequel to the Dune movie that released in 2021. So right now I'm actually at Walt Disney World in Epcot because I'm spending the day here before I actually go see the movie. And this was probably the perfect way to start out my video. So yeah. Yesterday, Epcot started their Flower and Garden Festival, which goes until the end of May, I believe. So, I wanted to come here first to kind of just take a look around and see what kind of flower and garden things that they have going on here. So, I'm actually going to the movies at 3:30 today, and I tried to reserve virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, but they had no spots available. And I'm going to the movies later, so it looks like I won't be going on this. But you know what? I'll try the next best thing. Treasures of Xandar. It should be the Treasures of Arrakis. If I'm not careful, this entire video might be centered around Guardians of the Galaxy and not Dune. I am Groot. Back at it again at Disney Springs. Hey, it's two of the biggest movie stars of today. We got Zendaya and we got Timothée Chalamet. All right, so the movie's finished now, and I'm actually gonna go back to Epcot for a little bit. So I'm gonna have plenty of time to reflect on my thoughts about this. And okay, Disco Inferno! Oh shit!
Welcome to the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, thank you. Alright, so I forgot to record this portion of the video earlier, so I'm just going to do this now. The director for this movie is Denis Villeneuve, and this movie stars Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh, Dave Bautista, Christopher Walken, Léa Seydoux, Stellan Skarsgård, Charlotte Rampling, and Javier Bardem. Alright, I am so tired, and I normally do not like to rush my videos, but I'm just gonna get as much of this out in one go as I can. So, plot for part 1. Following the fall of the House of Atreides and the planetary invasion of Arrakis, Paul Atreides decides to protect the people of Arrakis from further destruction. I'll make a part 1 review eventually. Alright, part 2. Picking up directly after the events of the first movie, Paul Atreides begins fighting along the Freemen, the inhabitants of northern Arrakis, which is the planet that most of the events of Dune take place on. Paul and his mother are thought to be spies of the Emperor, but some of the Freemen truly believe that Paul is their prophet, and Paul's mother, Lady Jessica, unwillingly takes over the duties of the Reverend Mother, who is, like, if you've ever seen the movie The Giver, it's like just somebody who contains so much information within them and also provides information. Kind of. Alright, Lady Jessica unwillingly takes over the duties of the Reverend Mother by drinking a substance called the Water of Life, and inherits memories from her own ancestors. And this causes Lady Jessica's unborn child to have her mind be awakened before her actual birth. And the lady Jessica and the child begin to have spiritual conversations with each other. And that the people of Arrakis need to be convinced of the prophecy about Paul. And Chani, who is a female Freeman warrior, doesn't believe that Paul is the actual prophet, but eventually becomes romantically involved with him. And Paul promises to fight with the Freeman, but not seek power, which changes later on. After Paul gains their trust, he becomes known as Muad'Dib, Muad'Dib, and Usul, as a sign of respect and fulfilling their role as a prophet. Rabban, who has loyalty, and Rabban, who has loyally assisted the Baron Harkonnen in the control of the spice production on Arrakis, and happens to be a culprit in the fall of the House of Atreides. From the previous movie, he hasn't been doing his role that well, so he's replaced by Baron Harkonnen's younger nephew, Fade Rautha. And Paul continues to receive nightmares that he can't figure out if they're reality or not, but he's convinced to seek alternative plans to keep the Freemen safe eventually. But he seeks alternate plans to keep the Freemen safe. Lady Jessica, in the meantime, is shown how the substance, the water of life, is actually made through adolescent sandworms that are drowned in water, and then the liquid just pops out of them. And against Chani's wishes, Paul consumes the substance to kind of gain the conscious understanding that Lady Jessica normally has. And this seems to really clear up Paul's mind, because he gets visions from his sister, Alia, and it's revealed to him that his grandfather is actually Baron Harkonnen. Chani becomes disappointed in Paul because he's starting to seek more authority now, rather than what he said before about, I want to fight, but I'll be equal. And so the people of southern Arrakis, who have a slightly different culture from the north of Arrakis, they're doubtful of Paul's status as a prophet, but Paul ignores their own customs just to assert himself. And so he starts calling himself Lisan al-Gaib. That's the closest I can get. And Paul is now confident enough in his identity to plan a full attack against the Emperor and his own army. Plans are set in motion, but then they wait to attack the Emperor until he's physically on the planet of Arrakis. An assault breaks out, and Paul finds a way onto the ship where the Baron and the Emperor are on. This also gives him a chance to go confront the Baron and go kill him because of his father's death, as revenge for his father's death. And for Paul to have the ability to assume authority, he had to go through a duel. So Paul had to duel Fade Rautha in order to prove his ascendancy. That's a first for me. I never said ascendancy before. Then Paul eventually wins the duel, and he asserts his authority over the Emperor, although none of the other houses want to acknowledge this change in power. The Emperor's daughter, Princess Irulan, convinces Paul to marry her in order to save her father's life. But the princess wanting to marry Paul upsets Chani, and Chani just leaves, and this sets in the events of the Holy War. And that is the plot of Dune Part 2. Originally, I wanted to get Part 1 in this review as well, but obviously now I'm only getting Part 2. And so, there wasn't anything really surprising about this. It was pretty much just a conclusion for the Dune storyline from the original book. My one critique about it, though, is the third act did feel a little bit rushed for this specific movie. Because maybe I've been used to seeing other movies in the science fiction and fantasy genre that have much larger and more significant third act structures, that this just kind of threw me off a bit. But I still thought it was pretty entertaining. The visuals in this one were just as good as they were in the first Dune movie. Maybe even a little bit better, because this was actually filmed after restrictions lifted for COVID-19. Meanwhile, the first Dune movie, filming was taking place around the time that COVID was first spreading. That was a very interesting time. Anyways, the music choices, Hans Zimmer's score is just excellent, and I enjoy it so much, especially with all the cello noises. It just kind of sounds like growling. It's very entertaining to listen to. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. My rating for this movie would be a 4 out of 5, because this was definitely an entertaining watch. Very good conclusion to the Dune film series now. But the pacing did kind of throw it off a little. And also the theater I went to go see it in, people's cell phones were going off the entire time, and it was kind of annoying. But I got around that, and I enjoyed it. So, if you ever get the chance to see Dune Part 1 and Part 2, I would suggest to just watch it all in one go, because now that's a possibility. Oh, when it comes out on streaming, of course. So, that's everything from this review. So, I'd like to thank you for watching, and my other recap and review episodes will definitely step up in quality after this one. And if you would like to catch up with anything else that's going on my YouTube channel, you can subscribe here or go to my social media to find out more information. But with that being said, thanks for watching.